Today, we ask, what if Ned Stark, newly appointed Hand of the King, brought his unacknowledged son, Jon Snow, to King's Landing? Scene opens at dawn, the Red Keep's silhouette looming against a pale sky. Lord Eddard Stark, newly arrived from the north, stands on a balcony overlooking the teeming city below. At his side is Jon Snow, cloaked in stark grey, but bearing the bastard name that sets him apart from his siblings.
Have a look, Jon. King's Landing. You'll not find a place like it in the north.
There are so many people. It feels like an anthill, Father.
Ned smiles faintly, though a dark worry clouds his expression.
Aye, mind yourself here. Danger lurks in every corner, far from our snows, but no less deadly.
With Ned Stark sworn in as Hand, King Robert Baratheon arranges feasts and tournaments, oblivious to the swirling intrigue that once consumed the life of his previous Hand, Lord Jon Arryn. Little does the king know that the seeds of his own downfall lie close at hand. We transition to the Red Keep's outer courtyard, where a grand tournament has ended. Kingsguard in white cloaks escort lords and ladies, each exchanging niceties or hushed gossip. Lord Varys, master of whisperers, glides among them, gleaning secrets. Pater Baelish, smirking, lurks near a pillar, exchanging a word with passing lords.
The boy with the direwolf. Quite the curiosity, no? Ned Stark's bastard, they say.
Oh, indeed. And a quiet one, from what my little birds sing. But quiet does not always mean harmless.
Jon Snow, on the far side of the courtyard, runs a hand through Ghost's white fur. Despite stares from passing nobles who titter about the Hand's bastard, Jon stands his ground, determined to show no shame.
I won't cower. If I can't be a true Stark, I can still be honorable.
Later that day, Ned meets Grand Maester Pycelle in the library, where shelves groan with dusty tomes. He thumbs through a lineage volume left behind by Jon Arryn. Pycelle rambles about house genealogies, dropping the name Stannis Baratheon with a curious emphasis.
Poor Lord Arryn was quite taken with these books, though why he cared for the colouring of Baratheon heirs is beyond me.
Ned frowns, recalling a glimpse of letters referencing seeds and bastards. He gently closes the book.
Jon Arryn died for some secret. Something about Robert's children, or so I suspect. If you hear anything useful, Maester, you'll come to me directly.
Pycelle bows stiffly. The seeds of disquiet in Ned's mind take deeper root, though he tells no one, not even Jon. Outside, thunderheads gather, ominous on the horizon. In the throne room, King Robert sprawls on the Iron Throne. Ned updates him on finances, bandit raids, and suspicious accounts. Robert waves off each concern, more interested in that evening's revel and cups of strong wine.
Come, Ned, enough talk of coin. I've a cask of Arbor gold waiting for me. Besides, the Lannisters are my in-laws, not devils from the pit.
Cersei Lannister, standing at the base of the throne, shares a cool, unreadable glance with Jaime Lannister. Jaime's eyes flick from Ned to Jon Snow, as though assessing a threat.
The boy stares like a wolf cub. I doubt Stark brought him here just to polish swords.
Cersei's lips curl in contempt.
We shall see if his father's meddling gets them both killed.
Ned senses the tension simmering behind their polite masks. He excuses himself, well aware that each step in the Red Keep might be on treacherous ground. The calm in King's Landing seldom lasts. Soon, Robert organizes another boar hunt, oblivious that those closest to him might use it as an opportunity to remove obstacles, whether that obstacle is an inconvenient king or an honorable hand. Early dawn. King Robert's hunting party rides out, with Robert shouting jovially, "I'll bring back a boar thrice my size, Ned." Ned stays behind, citing duties as Hand. Jon, left in the Red Keep, watches the party vanish through the gates with uneasy foreboding. Ghost whines, hours turn to days. Then, near dusk, the gates thunder open. King Robert is carried in on a litter, belly gashed open, reeking of sweat and spilled blood. His face is pale, breath ragged. Cersei stands beside him, features flickering between distress, fury, and something like satisfaction.
What in the seven hells happened?
A delirious Robert tries to speak, but only manages a hiss of pain. Sir Barristan Selmy, eyes clouded with worry, helps lift Robert onto a bed in his chambers. Grand Maester Pycelle rushes in with ointments and bandages, but the wound is grievous.
Ned, too much wine or something stronger. The boar took me clean.
Ned's face hardens with dread and anger, suspecting sabotage. Cersei steps away quietly as Pycelle attempts to save the king. By midnight, infection rages, and King Robert lapses in and out of consciousness, cursing the Lannisters, cursing the hunt, and apologizing to Ned for leaving him to the vipers. Come dawn, Robert exhales his final breath. A hush settles on the Red Keep, the corridors emptied of casual chatter. Panic simmers beneath the silence. Ned steps back from the bedside, fists clenched at the harsh reality of losing his old friend. Jon, who'd kept vigil, lowers his head in sorrow, hand gripping Ghost's scruff.
He's gone, Jon. The king is dead. Gods preserve us.
Word spreads like wildfire. Courtiers hurry to secure their futures. Sansa and Arya, Ned's daughters, hold each other in fear. Jon tries to console them, though he feels no less uncertain. Meanwhile, tension climbs, for the question of succession looms large. Joffrey stands as the presumed heir, but Ned's discovered secrets whisper otherwise. Robert's final instructions, confided to Ned in delirium, demanded the realm be protected. Yet the Lannisters move swiftly, unwilling to let anyone challenge their hold on power. Ned, rummaging through Jon Arryn's ledgers and genealogies, confirms what he suspected. Each Baratheon child in history bore dark hair, except the so-called children of Robert and Cersei. They are, in fact, Jaime's offspring. Ned steels himself to present these findings to the small council. He confides in Sir Barristan.
If Joffrey sits the throne, the realm sits on a lie. Robert deserved better.
Your lordship, be cautious. The Lannisters command many guards in the Red Keep, and the Queen will not yield easily.
Jon Snow eavesdrops from the corridor. His heart pounds at the danger his father now faces. Ghost stands beside him, ears pricked.
If the Lannisters discover we know, they'll strike first. Father, be careful.
Before Ned can confront the small council, Lannister Goldcloaks, loyal to Queen Cersei, seize control of the keep's gates. Sansa is captured. Arya narrowly escapes. The castle thrums with alarm as knights bar corridors and lock doors. Ned finds himself cornered in the courtyard, Sir Barristan at his side.
Lord Stark, you dare question Joffrey's parentage. You stand accused of treason. Surrender.
Jaime Lannister steps forward, blade at his hip, eyes glittering with lethal intent. Barristan draws steel in defense of Ned. Jaime's grin is razor sharp.
You should have run back to your snows, Stark. Now, you'll die as you lived, too honorable for your own good.
A ring of soldiers forms around them. Ned stands behind Barristan, while Jaime unsheathes his sword. The courtyard hushes as two legends cross blades. Sparks fly. Barristan, older but cunning, deflects Jaime's initial flurry. Jaime counters with serpent-like speed.
You bring disgrace to the Kingsguard, Lannister?
I made my peace with disgrace long ago.
Their swords clash in a dance of skill. Then Jaime angles his weapon with a cunning feint, slips Barristan's parry, and drives the blade into the knight's side. A hush falls. Barristan gasps, blood staining his white cloak. He collapses. Ned roars in grief, reaching for his own blade, but Lannister men-at-arms surge in. Jaime points his sword at Ned's throat.
Kneel or die where you stand.
Ned surrenders to spare the lives of his loyal men. Guards seize him. Over the hush, a messenger races in. Prince Joffrey has just been found dead, poisoned or murdered in his chambers. The courtyard explodes in fresh chaos. In the space of a single day, King Robert dies, Barristan Selmy is slain, and Prince Joffrey meets a mysterious end. The realm reels beneath these shocks. Meanwhile, far from the capital, the North and Riverlands stir to war at the news that Lord Stark is imprisoned. Ravens carry word of Ned's arrest to Winterfell. Robb Stark calls the Northern Bannermen, merging with Tully forces from River Run. Tywin Lannister marches to intercept them along the Trident. The clash is fierce and fast. With cunning flanking maneuvers, Robb traps Tywin near River Run in a bold assault at the Red Fork.
Press them hard! For my father! For the North!
Amid frantic battle cries and the ring of steel, Tywin Lannister finds his lines collapsing. Bloodied and raging, Tywin attempts retreat, but archers hamper his flight. Surrounded, he is forced to yield. The sight of the mighty Lord of Casterly Rock in chains sends shockwaves through Westeros. Word spreads quickly. The young wolf has captured Tywin. Back in the capital, Jaime struggles to maintain order. With Joffrey dead, their immediate claim to the throne falters. Myrcella and Tommen remain as potential figureheads, but neither stirs the Lord's fervor. Cersei prowls the halls like a wounded lioness, vowing vengeance against whoever killed Joffrey. Tyrion Lannister emerges from his own chambers to calm the situation, urging pragmatic alliances.
Sister, we must forge a stable arrangement. With father captured, half the realm is waiting for us to falter.
Cersei's voice drips venom.
Give me Ned Stark's head. That might appease me for a start.
But Tyrion sees the bigger picture. He knows the city teeters on the edge. The gold cloaks are uneasy, many lordly houses sense an opportunity, and the Tyrells send envoys under Lady Margaery's banner, smelling blood in the water. In the midst of this crisis, Ned languishes in a dank cell. Tyrion visits with an offer. Ned must publicly endorse Myrcella or Tommen as true heirs or face execution. Ned refuses. Searching for a trump card, Ned revisits the memory of his old friend, Jon Arryn. He's come to King's Landing chasing the truth about Robert's children. But now, another revelation stands out. Jon Arryn's final clues about the seed is strong might not refer only to Baratheon lines. Secret records reveal that Jon Snow is not Ned's bastard, but Rhaegar Targaryen's son with Lyanna Stark. Ned had concealed him to protect him from Robert's wrath. Now Robert is dead, Joffrey is gone, and the Lannister cause teeters. The realm has no stable Baratheon heir. A Targaryen Stark child might rally the North, Crown Lands, or more, if handled wisely. The knowledge stuns Ned, but he sees a faint path to save his family and perhaps quell further bloodshed. 6. Against all odds, events converge toward a single, explosive moment. New alliances form, old feuds intensify, and the fate of Jon Snow stands as a hidden turning point for the Seven Kingdoms. Margaery Tyrell and Lady Olenna Tyrell arrive in King's Landing, cloaked in diplomacy. They find the royal court in disarray. Jaime tries to negotiate with them to secure Tyrell backing for Tommen, but the Tyrell matriarch eyes a better deal. She quietly meets with Ned, who has partial freedom under guard, courtesy of Tywin's capture. Olenna's sharp mind sees the Targaryen advantage. If Ned's bastard truly bears Rhaegar's blood, forging a match could bring House Tyrell to the pinnacle of power.
We Tyrells have the gold, the food, and the cunning. You have the heir, or so you claim. Wed him to my granddaughter, and perhaps a new throne emerges from this chaos.
Ned, stunned but desperate to prevent a civil war, recognizes this might save lives, and Jon's. He nods grimly.
I must see him safe. The realm is bloodied enough.
The Tyrells use their growing influence, bolstered by Robb's victory over Tywin, to force Ned's release. Crowds in the streets sense the shifting power, though Jaime Lannister seethes at losing his key hostage. In the Red Keep's modest Godswood, slender southern trees offer minimal seclusion compared to Winterfell's ancient weirwood. Ned and Jon stand among rustling leaves, ghost prowling the perimeter. With no one else around, Ned kneels before Jon and reveals the truth.
Jon, I am not your father. My sister Lyanna and Prince Rhaegar Targaryen. You are their child. I claimed you to keep you safe from Robert's wrath.
Jon recoils, stunned. His face betrays confusion, anger, longing. The foundations of his identity shift under him.
Targaryen? Me? Father? No, Uncle Ned. How can this be? Everything I am, everything I believed.
Ned's voice trembles, burdened by old guilt.
I swore an oath to protect you. I shamed my honor and my wife to keep that vow. Forgive me, son or nephew. I never wanted you to bear the stain of bastard.
Jon's anger warps into sorrow. He looks at Ghost, then at Ned. A tear tracks down his cheek.
It's too much to take in. But if you're not my father, you are my father in all the ways that matter.
They embrace, father and son in all but blood. Moments later, Lady Olenna appears, discreetly clearing her throat. She reminds them both of the arrangement, a swift betrothal to Margaery Tyrell to legitimize Jon's claim, a compromise that might stave off all-out war. With Robert, Joffrey and Barristan dead, Tywin captured and Jaime's hold waning, King's Landing undergoes a shocking transformation. Out of it emerges a new possibility, a Targaryen Stark heir allied to House Tyrell. Under blazing torches, the court gathers in the throne room. Lords from across the realm, including some Crownlands bannermen, Tyrell emissaries, and half a dozen other factions, watch as Ned steps forward. Summoning all the composure he can muster, he proclaims the truth. Jon Snow is actually Jon Targaryen Stark, the son of Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar Targaryen, hidden away for years. Gasps ripple through the hall. Tyrion's eyebrows climb, Jaime's expression hardens, and Cersei all but shrieks her outrage.
Lies. A ploy to seat a new usurper on the throne. Seize them all.
Yet Tyrell soldiers ring the chamber, imposing a hush. Mace Tyrell steps forward with Lady Olenna, announcing that they endorse this claim. They vow their support if Jon pledges peace and justice. Next, Margaery Tyrell is called forward, dressed in finery embroidered with roses and direwolves. Ned states the betrothal arrangement as a unifying measure to end hostilities.
I accept this union for the good of the realm.
Jon, reeling from the swirl of events, quietly repeats his vow. The hush that follows is broken by a wave of applause from those who see advantage and murmurs of fear from Lannister loyalists. The wedding unfolds with grim haste in the Great Sept. Margaery's vows are sure, Jon's voice is tremulous, still wrestling with this identity thrust upon him. At the feast, lords uncertain of the Lannisters begin to gravitate toward this new power structure. Myrcella and Tommen remain children of uncertain standing. Tyrion tries to keep them safe while forging a future for House Lannister that doesn't involve total annihilation. Meanwhile, the newly minted King Jon Targaryen Stark, or Jon White Stark as some call him, accepts homage from a scattering of Crownlands lords. Ghost prowls by the dais, an unsettling presence to many.
Congratulations on the crown, Your Grace. May your reign fare better than the last Targaryen occupant of King's Landing.
Jon offers a polite nod, though uncertainty flickers in his eyes. He never wanted power or glory, only belonging. Margaery, graceful at his side, attempts to bolster his confidence, whispering that their union is essential to keep the realm from fracturing. From a corner, Cersei glares, outmaneuvered yet not defeated. At last, the city breathes with uneasy relief. A new king, a fresh union between Houses Stark and Tyrell, and the partial subjugation of House Lannister. Yet peace in Westeros is always fleeting. As the feast winds down, a breathless messenger bursts in, covered in dust, trembling from weariness. All eyes turn to him.
Ships, sails, black and red. Dragons, my lords, real dragons, circling out in Blackwater Bay.
A ripple of shock sweeps the hall. The name on every tongue is Daenerys Targaryen, rumored to have survived across the narrow sea. Some claim she has 3 dragons grown to terrifying size, an army of freedmen and Dothraki at her back. Gasps and exclamations bubble up. Tyrion's eyes narrow thoughtfully, while Ned sets his jaw, remembering all he learned about Targaryen madness and prophecy.
So, I have an aunt. She may not welcome my claim.
Ned places a steadying hand on Jon's shoulder.
You must face her, son. There need not be war if you both remember the realm suffers enough.
Night casts the Red Keep in shadow. Daenerys' fleet enters Blackwater Bay, war horns echoing. On the battlements, a newly wedded Jon stands with Margaery at his side, Ned behind him, and a cluster of loyal knights awaiting orders. Below, Ghost snarls quietly, hackles raised. Torches reveal the flicker of ships in the distance. Suddenly, a roar resonates in the night sky. The shape of a dragon, enormous wings against the moonlight, spews a jet of flame. The city gasps collectively. Soldiers brandish spears, lords shout in alarm.
So it begins.
Margaery grips his arm, steady as she can. Ned's eyes reflect both fear and lingering hope that perhaps these 2 Targaryens, Jon and Daenerys, can avert further bloodshed. The tension in the air is palpable, thick as the humidity rolling in off the sea. And so our story closes on the brink of a new era. With Robert gone, Joffrey dead, Tywin in chains, and a Targaryen Stark heir on the throne, Westeros stands at the doorstep of fresh conflict. Will Daenerys ally with her nephew, or burn the city as her ancestors once did? Will House Lannister accept defeat, or plot a cunning revenge? Only time shall tell. The camera lingers on the swirling silhouette of a dragon's wings, backlit by the moon. Ghost's distant howl echoes through King's Landing. Then all fades to black. If you wish to see part 2 of this tale, where Jon Targaryen Stark meets Daenerys face to face, forging either an alliance or a final war, give this video 400 likes. Until then, watchers on the walls never forget, winter is still coming.